I want to ask you what the F is up with Jake Tapper. What is going on with that guy? I
You talking about the
found
book?
out that he was going to be on Kimmel and he got canceled. And initially, they didn't say why. But when I found out what Tapper did, I was like, that's why.
Well, I mean, I didn't. I don't know about that about the cancellation. I do
I,
know. I mean, because of his book. Is that why?
yeah, yeah, well, yeah, yeah. I
Well,
believe that the cancellation happened because of that on
well,
Jimmy
because of the
Kimmel.
cancer diagnosis after the book came out. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Well,
Right.
that's just bad. That's bad timing on his part. I mean, actually, unless you're talking about something else, it's just kind of unfortunate as a journalist for the timing was unfortunate because I do believe that while it might not be the most constructive thing for our democracy right now to be
Mm,
dancing on, to be slamming Joe Biden, I
right.
do believe that there are some, there were some definite issues there. And
Mm,
I'm very I get upset now because we
mm,
live in a time when it's like, we don't care what you see. We're going to tell you something completely different. And we're just
mm.
going to keep on telling you something different until you believe it. And
That's true.
that bothers me. I mean, I was a Biden, if I'm being like, I try to be as honest and transparent as possible.
Mm,
Back in 2008, during the primaries, before Obama won Iowa, I was a Biden guy because
mm,
I didn't know a whole lot about Barack Obama, number one. And number
mm,
two, I didn't think he could win because he's
mm,
black. That's why.
mm. Right.
Period. It had nothing
Right.
to do with his qualifications or abilities. And so
Mm,
then when he won Iowa, I was like, oh, let me check this guy out. And then the rest was history. But,
mm.
I like Joe Biden. He's got faults, but I like him for the most part. But dude, you can't be in there in the presidency with, with
Right.
right
Right.
now at this time and try to bullshit your way back to another term.
Well, you know what? Everything you're saying is right, and I agree. However, I look at what they did with Biden as well, what's alleged by Tapper in his book in
Right.
terms of hiding his decline, his
Mhm.
physical and mental decline. Okay, that's fine. But the people that are around him that are hiding it did good shit. They kept the country going. It
Yep.
wasn't a situation where you look at somebody like Christy Nome who doesn't even understand what
Oh,
habeas corpus is. And also, the people around this orange guy are totally incompetent. They have weakened us as our national security on so many levels, weakened our economy. And then yesterday, South African president is visiting the White House, and this dude tries to put propaganda out there.
mhm.
And the whole thing about the genocide.
President Trump ambushing the president of South Africa. The president of South Africa there to talk trade and to try to reset relations between the U.S. and South Africa. President Trump at one point calling for the lights to be dimmed and playing a video, and then showing a stack of papers that he said were articles proving a white genocide. The president of South Africa denying the unsubstantiated claims, at one point saying to President Trump, "I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you."
I know you're probably just as pissed as I was about that.
Well, I'm pissed off that we have that there are enough American voters and people around this particular president that will that feel comfortable, I guess, having a president that gets his information off of the internet. That
Mm,
blows my mind.
right.
This guy, even before his presidency, during his first term, and obviously right now, this guy has made his career echoing and repeating stuff that he gets off of the internet from sources that are BS.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
I just
Thank you.
I don't understand. It makes it, not only does it is it has it screwed our country up, but it makes us look like idiots worldwide. Makes us
It,
look
it
like
really
idiots.
does. It does make us look like idiots. It makes us look like idiots when you have those people who are voting for him, and now they're saying, "Well, I didn't know he was going to do that. I didn't know he was going to do that." No, what you did was you ignored all the other crap
Right.
because you were so concerned with that thing about owning the libs,
Right.
or just you heard what you wanted to hear because you're saying, I'm just like him. I'm
Right.
just as much as a bigot and a racist as him. He would never do that to us. What they don't understand is that you ain't in the 1%. He don't give a
Right.
damn about you. The guy
Right.
says, he tells you what he thinks. He says, I don't need your vote anymore.
Well, look, they just passed a budget that's going to cut Medicare
And Medicaid.
and some SNAP and food stamps, some food stamp
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
So, yeah, he doesn't care now.
yeah.
They put him in that position.
But not to mention that they're raising taxes as
Right.
well. So
Right.
everybody else is going to be losing money. And then everybody in the wealthy section
Right.
of this country, the 1%, are
Right.
going to be gaining. It
Right.
is it's mind-boggling that you got people so obsessed with protesting the White House because of the atrocities in Gaza. Understand that. But you got to have priorities in place. You got to understand. You got to use critical thinking. And that's why they don't want it, because if you actually think on it, it would make sense. It never made sense to me why people would vote for someone instituted a Muslim ban. Why would you vote for somebody who's already shown he doesn't give a damn about the people that you're fighting for? That
I
pisses
don't.
me off.
Well, I think it is because my little theory about Trump, which isn't a theory, I mean that's what he does. I think is he understands. He I don't like to give him too much credit, but because I think he's kind of an idiot savant in an evil way. But the
Mm,
the he's like Satan, if there is a Satan.
mm,
Satan or evil understands your weakness and or what you're going to latch onto and puts that out in front of you. So what he did is put a lot of red meat out there, and he fed into the latent and subtle under the surface racism and sexism and xenophobic nature and homophobic nature actually of this country, and
mm,
people and he put that all balled all that up into
yeah,
make America great again. And whether we want to as Americans admit it or not, I think we understand it, that there is a burning nostalgia within the majority demographic of this country, mostly, that just does not feel comfortable with actually what this country is supposed to be all about.